let's get into it.
Peace be upon you.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
I can't wait to get into the fight.
You guys are not using a scrim code?
Think you can keep up with me?
Oh, sorry. This is an official, not a scrim.
Oh, got it. I was just
Yeah,
looking, and I'm like, wait a second.
Sorry.
You guys aren't, like, skipping to your start or any of that, huh?
No. We usually do. OC is not that behind.
Got it.
5, 4,
Okay.
2, 1.
Because this is a team, let me just get a feel for what you guys have done. You've put that up here. You've put that over here. Okay.
We generally struggle a little bit with this point because, like, we're not sure how to play around where, like, our two-man wants to be. Because often they're, like, trying to play in the left sort of side, and we can't get orb and pack through there, obviously.
So you can't get what through there?
They're, like, orb and pack LOS through there.
Oh, yeah.
When they're, like, inside the left, yeah.
Well, you have to ultimately decide what you're trying to do in terms of soft versus hard engages. Like, you can take a soft engage, and we're going to see what you do. You can take a soft engage somewhere around statue, around choke if you want, but it's got to be a pretty soft engage because your backline's just not going to contribute to it, right? You might have Zen throwing some orbs. You might have Soldier going fall-off damage. What's that? Oh, why don't I do any damage? You might have some of that going on, but ultimately your real fight against these guys is mostly going to have to be on point or like here-ish or here-ish unless you've rotated your backline to change the situation, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's going to have to be your real fight where you actually commit hard is going to have to be around point unless you aggressively or defensively move your backline somewhere else. So let's see what you guys do. Like, that's really the answer to the pack and the orb stuff. Like, it shouldn't really be that relevant yet.
Okay.
Okay. Sure. Okay, so I'm actually not too worried about this, Winston. You go for the whip shot, and that's fine. You have to make the decision of whether you're going to go for the whip shot or not against double bubble. If you are, you generally want to go early. He got the bubble pretty early, not a big deal. And then you're going to go in here, and I know that this bubble, like, he got that bubble pretty early, right? He didn't get it after he touched the ground. He got it in the air.
Yeah.
And not like, just before he touched the ground. He got it in the air. So I know that it's going to be pretty safe to go in there and stun him. And are you worried about like a diva or someone like that showing up here as well, or no?
No, because
Right.
they've got a Zara, obviously.
Exactly.
Like, there might be the Tracer flank behind, but it's a little bit early.
Exactly.
She'd
She'd usually have trouble getting here. If she's already here, your flankers sort of didn't do their job, and they didn't really control the flanks. So we look at this and go, okay, this is a thing. You now want to walk into this bubble, because I am very convinced, and you should be too, that this Winston is not going to take you down before his bubble ends and you bash him. And I also want to be in there to bash him before he gets to like the edge of his bubble to play with where it's dicey, or before he's in a place where maybe he can back out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So you actually want to take this. And the truth is, against this comp, frequently what you'll do is you'll not go for the whip shot unless you can get it super early on his way in, because you actually want it to be able to go against the double bubble specifically. I'm going to walk into your bubble. I know that this is going to happen. I'm probably going to get the Harmony Orb because I'm here, which makes this even more comfortable. And now I'm going to bash you, and I'm going to decide, depending on the situation, if I want to follow up that bash with just saying, nope, you're gone type thing. You with me so far? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's usually how we'd think about this. Diva went for the food. You're fine. Go ahead.
I think I'm usually more like reserved when we have the Zen rather than the Ana. Because with the Ana, a lot of the time I do just step up and try and like delete him with nade and bash or whatever.
But even that Harmony Orb is going to be huge in terms of it's going to take him, like, yes, he'll beat you in a straight out 1v1, but is that ever really going to be a 1v1?
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Yeah.
Especially with like Soldier's heal pad and everything. Like,
you got it.
Yeah, I don't die there.
Okay. So now we have to decide what we're doing. So, oh cool, we got their Hanzo. Who knows what's going on there? Our ball is probably looking to stabilize after that, but your Zen and your ball work together, got the Hanzo. We like that. Are we now going to exhaust this team more? Are we going to run at this team's backline? What are we going to do? What's our role in this team versus, or what is our team's macro neutral win condition versus theirs?
So we do have more poke than them.
Okay.
So we can play to like poke out the monkey here.
Yeah.
And then if he like buckles cooldowns to try and like get out rather than engage, then we have the opportunity to like drop and push.
Right.
If it's like a good enough tempo.
You guys are in no danger whatsoever. Yeah, yes, your ball's in trouble and it would be bad if you lose him, but their tracer's in a rough spot. They shouldn't be able to hit any sort of dive right now. You've put appropriate pressure on their people. You just forced out their monkey. Let's do some, let's do some stabilizing. Let's do some poking. You got it. Sure. Okay, so we're going to change that habit because we've either got to be much earlier than that or hold the whip shot, but okay. Again, that would be totally different if it was Winston Diva you're up against, but this is Winston Zarya. Sure. What did we get here? You want... Where did you use it?
She like blinked through it. I was just late. I should have.
Oh yeah, like, got it.
Yeah. I think in general, like mechanically, this was a pretty bad like night for me.
Okay.
But it happens.
We're
not an excuse,
too worried about it. Perfect.
Feeling better? I will shield you.
Good patience. Less good patience.
You'll feel better soon. Du mår bättre snart.
Huh. Okay.
Shield's holding. My barrier can't take much more.
Sure.
I'll take care of you.
It's not quite the right application of resources. Okay. How do I want to go over this? I mean, this is really more macro for the team than it is for you. You're taking a little more damage than you need to be with some of this stuff, but that's really minor on the scale of your Diva's just taking too much damage and then your Harmony Orb's living on her, and that's not what we want to happen from a macro standpoint. This will have to be cleaned up. This is why Diva wasn't the original choice for this comp. Sigma was, but then we had Sigma nerfs, and now you see sometimes Diva, sometimes Sigma, and what you're looking at here is Diva's a bit greedy with the health, so you actually have to play a pretty passive Diva. And we're going to go back to reviewing you, I promise. But
it's okay. Macro stuff's still good.
Right. The reason that this is coming up is because
My barrier can't take much
you
more.
should be perfectly happy to walk into this. Like, again, it's not like, oh, you're terrified, etc., but this should not be something where you're going, oh no, I'm terrified that I'm just going to get destroyed. No, you should be okay. Like, yes, it's scary with Hazard over there giving them covering fire, but assuming, this is the situation where it should be basically automatic that the Harmony Orb goes on you when this dive comes in, but it's not because your Diva's already doesn't have any armor, which is the problem that's going on here. If your Diva had armor, you'd get the Harmony Orb, and you'd walk in and you'd just deal with this. But this is a more macro issue, so you're backing out. At least I hope that's why you're backing out.
Yeah, like I could tell that I was low health.
Yeah. But again, you being low health alone isn't enough. Like, you can be losing health, but you're going to walk right on forward at 150 health and go, nope, I'm confident I'm going to live long enough to do what I need to break this push. Okay. So you're doing this a lot, where you're hanging sort of behind the team, and yes, it's really easy to see when you're behind the team. Is there like a tracer or a ball or anything behind you right now?
No, definitely not.
There's not. So, like, yes, it gives you better vision. It makes it easier to see your team, and that's a nice crutch. But the reality is, being a little bit closer, just a tiny bit in front of your team, makes your whip shots easier, lets you break sight lines if you have to. Like, again, Zen can't heal himself. Zen can't Harmony Orb you while you're here. Like, that's not amazing. I'm not telling you to soak damage, but I'd much rather you do a tiny bit of enforcing this corner or a tiny bit of shield peeking around this corner than be back here. You with me?
Yeah, that
Okay.
makes sense.
Sure. Okay. Sure.
You'll feel better soon.
Good. Okay, you have to position to protect yourself now. Where's the Tracer?
Well, I can only tell because I can see her through the wall, but apart from that, I have no idea.
Right. Is it possible that the Tracer has won their way through here and is already here?
Yeah, it's possible.
Right. So you need to have, I'm not saying you walk back here and go, oh, I got you then. You're not Lucio, but like at the very least, you need to be paying some attention in this direction to be ready to get like a repair pack on as soon as possible, right? Like maybe you're not because this, but like have you communicated with your team? Have you gotten a call out of where Tracer is? Like this is relevant information. I'm not saying you have to go, I'm going to walk Zen all the way back, but I'm also not just willing to go, hey, I'm here, I'm just defaulting to my normal position, and I'll play until Zen gets here. Okay, there's the peak. I hate it. I hate it. Are they just losing that hard? They don't have a Harmony Orb. Okay. Okay. Sure. Fun. Okay, we can deal with that. So the other thing I'd adjust is that you've mostly been playing back here. And that's okay to play back here, but it is giving them, like, again, you're playing behind your team, which makes them easier to see, but it makes it harder for you to find whip shots. And it also means that the soldier over here, or the soldier over here, gets to shoot at you, right? Like, you can then go, oh, I don't like that, and scoot right. But you know what makes it even easier to go, oh, I don't like that, scoot right? Just kind of standing here with your shield up behind the boat in the first place. Like, if you just stand here, you can just see more. Is it a little harder to pay attention to the teammates behind you? A little. It absolutely is. But if you have full shield, it's not meaningfully harder to do so. And this is just opening up, like this is opening yourself up to be chipped in a way that either gets rid of rally armor or creates a situation where you go, oh shoot, I got pre-chipped. Now I've either got to get Harmony Orb time or I can't really get whip shots in until I get healed back up. So I wouldn't, again, the thing that we've sort of seen here is you're playing a little too far back with your Brig, but not the end of the world.
Definitely something I should be changing.
Yep.
Because it is like a recurring theme now that you mention it, yeah.
Stop the payload.
Okay, you're gonna help Zen bully? Good.
My barrier's about to go.
Okay.
Activating self-destruct sequence.
Bet you didn't see that coming. Shield's taking damage. Back this up.
Sure.
Feeling better? You'll take it in. Fixing you up.
So here, should we be like all playing further back to be poking more, or should I be up the front, like at the tank or whatever, to be ahead of the team?
Sure. So here's what you run into. You have to decide what your comp's for. Now you could go, we want to hold here because we don't want to let them in because this is a strong choke, or you could go, we want to be back here because it gives us long sight lines and we like our long sight lines. And ultimately, their team is going to be either better at brawl or better at poke than you, or vice versa, usually speaking. So if we look at your team, if we put you up here, or we put you and Diva up here, even if we have Zen behind you, can you beat their core of Brig, Anna, Zarya? Like that's their brawl core, right?
Yeah, we probably wouldn't be able to.
Right.
Unless we have like rally advantage or something.
Right. So no, I'm perfectly if you're going to go with rally advantage, sure. But failing swapping the win conditions like that, inverting how your comps work, you're going to go, "Hey, I'm going to sit my Zen back here. This is perfectly fine. Maybe our soldier's off-angled, maybe our soldier's with us, whatever. Probably going to off-angle a little bit because I'm not that worried about him being hard dove. He can sprint out, whatever. And then you're going to go, we're going to accept that the cart's going to get to here, but we're just going to crush the sightlines. We're not going to let you rotate up through this way, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You're on an adventure. Okay.
Watch your backside.
Okay, so that happened. We could go over a couple things here. Like you and I want my whip shot.
So yeah,
How
I was
many-
originally
How many
thinking
people
of
benefit if you trigger Inspire right here?
It'd still probably hit the back line, but I don't want to be this aggressive to do it.
Right.
Like they're
Right.
not going
There
to
you
get
go.
benefit
There
out
you go.
of it, right?
This isn't really benefit to them, and this isn't really cover. They can shoot through this. So you've got nothing up here going up for this. Yeah, you got it. And then don't fall off the edge.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Zarya right click helps, but hey,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I think it was mostly because I was confused as to where we wanted to be setting up.
Sure.
So I was trying to like be half up to help the Tracer, half back to sit with the team, and ended up in the middle of nowhere.
Yep. Bad compromise.
Yeah.
Sure, this is something you can absolutely fight.
Rally to me.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Rally to me.
You know, I'm sure that there's a dive call here. I'm sure that you're aware of the cart, but as soon as you hear that counter rally, can you walk into these guys anymore?
No, like again, their comp
Okay.
just has the brawl advantage. With
Exactly. Now, maybe if you're like, no, my team's diving, I have to do it anyways, they're rallying, and my ball is going to hit their pile drive right now, and my Diva's going in with their boosters, and my Tracer's already set up behind them, and we just got to do it, etc. Maybe, but like, you can't, especially basically here, be going,
I've got you.
this is a little bit of a sad engagement here, right? Like you guys
Yeah,
are like, let's all just walk forward. Okay, well at least we have a soldier on high ground, but he's on regular high ground. He's not like behind them high ground or anything. Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, so if we'd staged for it, then that would have been like enough advantage to justify it. But
Yeah, you got it. If you
we
were
haven't stayed.
right, if you're in a place where it's like, hey, our cooldowns have an appropriate tempo, we have our appropriate angles, let's do it. Sure, fine. Okay. Or if this was the call. If the call from the get-go was, we're going to do this rally push, and the reason we're going to do this rally push is we're doing this rally push to match rallies, and then you always knew the plan was to trans right after. Like, don't lose anyone during rally, and then trans right after, and we can brawl harder than them if we trans then rally, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be the
I
other.
don't think that was the call, but
Yeah. It's also sort of not really going to work because, whoops, we lost people.
yeah.
Okay. So you didn't really know where to play on second. You were playing really a little too far back on first. Let's see how this trend continues. We obviously can't, you know, brawl into a brawl team. They're not a brawl team, but they're hybridized more towards brawl than we are.
Yeah.
Behind.
My barriers are back. My barriers down. Så gott som ny.
Feeling better?
Sure.
Take cover.
Stay up for it.
So we're still changing that.
Yep.
It's not a big deal.
I should have been patient with the whip shot there as well.
Sorry,
I
what's
think
that?
I am just, yeah, I should have been patient with the whip shot there
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
All systems checked out. I'm back in the fight.
I've got you in my
Payload is
sights.
approaching its destination.
Let me touch that up.
That should be better.
Let me touch that up.
Okay. Sure.
That should be better.
So, I'm starved for information. What you're doing here is you're going, I'm going to swing into the open. Is someone pushing around this corner? Is swinging? Like, is there someone right here who's like pushing in who's going to get hit by your flail, but you're protected against?
No, definitely not.
Right. And are you recovering shield right now? Are you in a situation where you're going, oh, I'm missing shield. I don't, you know, I need to let that recover. I can't interrupt that by putting my shield up.
No, I'm not.
So I'm really way more interested in putting my shield up right now to just give me the vision of, oh shoot, there's a soldier over here. Because I saw Doomfist went this way, right? Is he coming
Yeah.
back? Is soldier coming back through here? What's going on over here? Like, I want my shield up, because if I put my shield up, I zoom out a little bit, and then, yeah, I can still see what's going on over here if I want to spend pack on Diva, if I want to look for a whip shot over here, but I can also see the flank coming through here, because I know my team definitely doesn't have control of this. I don't know if enemy team has control of it, but I know my team doesn't have control of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so just from a, hey, I'd like more information standpoint, if it's not interrupting your shield again, hide your shield behind a wall and use it for the greater info. It's better than swinging into a corner. I don't even like swinging into corners that much on Brig. Like, she's not Reinhardt, unfortunately.
I'll take care of these. I'll lead the way.
Sure. Okay. Sure. I'm really curious what's around this corner to the point that I kind of want to put my shield up to see what's around it before I go around here. And I'm going to say the exact same thing right here. I don't want to peek this swinging. Like, what's the odds that something's here for me to hit first with this first swing versus the odds that there's a piece of spam coming down here that I'm now going to take to the gut?
Yeah, like it's just not worth the risk.
Right, exactly. Like, no. I'm quite good going like this and going, okay, now it's safe. Let me step out and whip shot. Like, yeah, all good. I probably want to do a little more balancing here, so this is fine. I'm not going to worry too much about the target selection. This is fine. Cool. This is a little scary, and I would kind of actually like to let my stats recover a little bit. You've got Inspire and Rally ticking right now, right?
Yeah.
So And you've still got a full shield. And I don't want your shield to get broken, but there is an art to balancing. You don't want your shield to break, because then you can't bash. But there is an art to balancing between your barrier health and your regular health, and letting your Inspire, and in this case your Inspire and your Rally, trade some of your shield health, half of your shield health, for some time for those to do work back right now. Because do you care whether you hit another swing right now, or is your Inspire ticking regardless, and it's probably going to keep ticking because you hit something pretty recently, right?
Yeah, and like the damage that I'm doing isn't going to convert to a kill.
Your damage is worthless. I mean, it's not actually worthless, but like your damage is like, oh, I have damage attached to my Inspire proc. Who knew? You know, like that's basically what we're looking at. So this is like this whip shot you went for is you forced your own shield down while you were missing health. Again, you do have Inspire and Rally going, but like it would have been better to actually just put our shield up for half a second, take a little bit or take no damage on the shield, and then go, oh, now I'm back up to 200 out of 245 health, or I've caned, I'm up 212 health, whatever. Okay, now let me go back to my thing here. Like, we do want to balance these resources a little bit better.
Because Rally ends and I'm still not even at full health. Like,
you got it. Was you had plenty of shield health. And again, you're not going to spend this to 0. Oh, I hate that it does that now. I think it doesn't like that I changed my keybinds. Again, it's not the end of the world, but like you look at this and go, hey, you weren't going to spend to 180, but could you have spent to 90 health? Could you have spent to a 90 shield health, 100 shield health? You know, like any of that. Yeah, you probably could have. It's not always exactly that precise, but as long as you don't let it break, I would have happily traded some more shield to have had more real health at the end of that.
yeah.
I don't have to skip past 5 minutes here between rounds with people readying up. I don't know how I feel about this.
It's a welcome change, isn't it?
Those darn coaches doing their coaching between rounds.
Let's get this done.
So I do actually swap to Mercy
Okay.
after the first push
Because you recognize that they have very little in terms of diver presence, and you want to boost your poke. Sure.
and we start on the pharmacy and
Sure.
then
That should be better.
they go soldier, so we end up just Mercy with normal poke.
What's interesting about standing here?
I don't see much of anything.
Yeah, I agree. Standing here looks pretty good. Standing here could be fine, but standing here looks pretty good. I just don't see a very good reason to be here, do you?
No. I think the call was that we were going to try and like clear right.
Okay.
So I'm probably,
I'm good if that's what you're
theory,
doing, but I'm going to make fun of your micropathing if that's the case. Oh, we sent a repair pack. Cool.
That should be better.
Huh. What? I don't know what we're doing. Like, we can literally just stand here with our shield up until we're ready to rotate across with Sigma. But that's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine. That fight was long since over.
My spirit is strong.
Damage increase. Thanks for the assist. I'm with you.
Sure.
Let me get you patched up. Cover me. Powered up. Contact.
So,
Powered.
as cool as this statue is, as cool as staring at this statue is, how's your Zen doing? Did a Genji show up on him? How's your Sigma doing? Is he getting crushed? Now, it's unlikely that you're willing to leave your Pharah to go help those guys. It's not actually that unlikely. Your Pharah's in a very safe spot right now. But, like, this information, the only information you're getting right now is how good is my line of sight blockage against the opponents. And that information doesn't have a value of 0, but I want you to just know that. I want you to sort of just
Yeah.
know that information. I don't want you to have to stare to do that. So I want you to go, do I need to GA over there to bail something out? Do I need to go back here because a Genji showed up and protect this? Because I have zero qualm about abandoning your Pharah right now. If your Pharah is up here, I'm going to be annoyed if you abandon her and she's going to be annoyed. But your Pharah is playing it very safe right now, and if you abandon her, it's like, meh, whatever. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Contact.
Cool.
I will not waste damage amplified. Ich bin da.
I'm keeping them somewhat on your screen. Probably slow fill a little less than you need to here. Like, we look at this.
I will not waste damage amplified.
Okay, cool. I don't really need to keep them in sight like this. Like, you're using your slow fall, and you don't really need to use your slow fall until you're here. You're not in danger of losing your Pharah. Your beam still has quite a bit more that it can stretch before it's on its timer. So you can just regular fall to here and then do your slow fall to sort of be like, hey, I want to minimize the time that the enemy soldier can shoot at me, for example.
Ich bin da.
That was better. Mm-hmm.
Healing stream engaged.
Okay.
You should be at peak performance level.
Enemies in our orbit.
Yeah, I mean,
That
you
was
sort
very
of...
Support
dangerous.
has arrived.
It was, and it was like, I get it, this whole sequence was scary, but you did a surf past her, like, you did a full-on,
Yeah, that
no
was-
early cancel, etc. Yeah.
Clearing the area.
And again.
I'm taking care of you. Damage increase.
Interesting. Sure. So... It's scary and all. Is there anyone behind you?
Yeah. No idea.
Yeah, there isn't. But
Definitely.
like,
Mhm.
I don't know. If you know that your Sigma and your Zen have this under control, okay, no problem. But like, if I was red team here, I certainly would have been thinking about, hey, maybe we have people in here, whatever. I'd like to wrap someone around here to get my crossfire, but okay. So obviously we could have done a quick check here. We're not getting a ton of useful information right here. Good. Cancel early. Yep.
Damage amplified.
Gather at this position.
Where does it
Clearing the area.
Okay.
Activating the barrier.
damage boost engaged?
Rocket barrage.
Okay, she's gonna do it instead. What was the plan here? Do you guys called for a new way to win this fight? Because I look at this and they have meaningful people back on the point again, don't they?
Yeah.
So was there?
I think
Go ahead.
Pharaoh was saying that they were gonna go for barrage.
Okay, that's fine. If they're not, I'm kind of looking for you to Valk at this point. Like, I don't want you to just hold
Yeah.
it, but that's fine. You had the barrage call, we're good.
Rocket barrage incoming.
I think I do hold my job too long in general.
Probably, but I don't
Yeah.
know that yet.
Objective A.
Okay.
Escort
Sure, probably overhealing that Zen at the end there. I mean, again, it's like, this is fine. I'm good with this one, but he's like so beyond gone at this point. Like he doesn't have dash anymore. Your Zen isn't really like the first time you healed him up was fine, but this guy can't really hurt him anymore. He's used dash, he's done all that. Like I'm not saying oh just let your Zen get eliminated here, but I'm kind of more interested in finishing him off with my Sigma boost than with my Zen heals, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If he's still a dash, different story, but there you go. You're letting No, it doesn't matter. Soaks it. So you could have healed up all there. You just didn't.
Let's keep
Okay.
it moving.
I think here I'm like AFK holding tab alt tracking.
Got it. Got it.
I've noticed this when I'm doing like self reviews a lot of the time. Like anytime that I'm sort of like AFK between fights, just like not doing anything, it's because my brain is occupied.
I mean, you can kind of get away with that in the cleanup, but yes, you want to.
Yeah.
Ult tracking is something that someone on the team has to do. It being you is standard. We're good.
Heroes never die.
Sure. Jack can live with that.
Powered up.
You do
I'm
it.
taking
Okay.
care.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I was just up there, and I know there's nothing up there. Like, I hear the hog, but I am less interested in staring up at the soles of my Hanzo's feet than I am at, hey, how are we doing on these sides? Like, I was just up here. I know it's up here. Is there a hog over here? Sort of gets more scared of me. Yeah, you know that the hog is going up here, but again, I'm a little less interested in staring at the person I'm interacting with my beam than you seem to be.
Yeah.
Good. Missed the hook. That makes going back up here reasonably safe. Didn't actually have to do it, but sure.
Healing stream engaged. Damage amplified. Let's get you back.
Should I have been damage boosting here to try and burst down the blade faster?
So, the answer is yes, because he's never going to continue to go after Tracer, right? Like, you look at this and you're just not going to be able to make a difference on Tracer in terms of keeping her alive. If Tracer stays alive, it's going to be based off of not getting hit by some of this stuff. It's not going to be based on you healing her up. So, like, the real answer is yes, you should have been damage boosting to try to take this down faster. On the other hand, it's a nano blade. He doesn't melt fast. And, like, can you throw gum in the work, slow it down, etc.? Not really. So, did we want to actually take him down faster? Yeah, we probably did. If we had another source of healing too, sure, we can try to heal through it. But in this situation, the damage, even when your Tracer is missing half their life like this, is ultimately going to make more sense. It's not going to pay off very often either way you do it, but yes.
Yeah.
Let's get you back out there.
See through the dragon's eyes. The dragon awakens now to strike.
Damage increase.
I think you missed the timing on your swap there.
Damage increase.
So I get why you swapped back to Hanzo here, because you'd just been healing Zen, but Zen, you'd also been charging during all that time.
Yeah.
So this is a, what? No. Okay.
Observe the barrier.
Okay. Good, check.
What is that?
Sure.
Powered up. I'm taking care.
Ready to go. Hi. Hideout ready to go.
Really just ignore the Lucio, don't I?
You totally did. I'm like, okay, so this happened, and you go up over here, and I'm like, yep, and that's right. And then I'm like, do you turn, like, to be like, no, let me boost you with Lucio? But no, the Lucio's dealt with at this point, so you're okay. Okay. I can live with it, honestly, if you hadn't then turned to deal with him, but he's already eliminated, so we're good. Okay. But now we're going to force this fight win with Valk, right? Right?
I don't remember if I Valkyrie or not. I think I do.
Okay. Okay. A little less reason to do so now.
Damage amplified.
Sure.
Damage amplified.
I'm not seeing as many reasons as I think you are to shoot here. Like, she didn't just fire. So, like... I don't know if you're trying to, like, bait her into a shot or what, but you just opened this angle. Did she just fire? Is there no way she has a charged shot right now?
No, she could definitely dome me right now.
Yes, yes. So, like, is it going to matter? No, you guys just capped. Is it foolish of you to do this? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Whenever mission be.
Interesting.
Heroes never die. Mercy.
Should be on damage now, yeah.
Yeah.
I have this
Heroes
problem.
never die.
Did this
couple of
really
times.
change whether you could save Sigma or not? Go ahead.
Probably not. But yeah, there's a lot of situations where I want to use Valk to start a fight,
Mm-hmm.
but then because the like engagement of the fight happens
Right.
later than expected, it ends up being like I start with a lot of healing instead of a lot of damage boost. I'm not really sure how to.
Well, that doesn't quite follow. If the engagement of the fight is later than you were expecting, I think you mean earlier, right? Because if the fight started later than you expected, let me think for a second.
Like we had a super like long drawn out poke phase, which
Right.
means that like the health pools are lower. Is what I'm sort of thinking.
Okay. I wouldn't really consider it poke phase. The instant your Sigma got hooked here, I'd probably consider this fight real, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've entered brawl phase, or we'll call it, we can be loose with our definitions, we cannot be loose with our definitions, but I consider this fight real effectively once your Sigma got hooked in here, and this was not how we wanted to start the fight, and sometimes the opponents get the drop on us and start the fight in ways we don't want. But the thing that we look at is, okay, your ult's pretty good in the poke phase, he hasn't been hooked yet, okay, I look at this and go, your team is actually looking for a longer poke phase than these guys, right?
Yeah.
And your ult helps a fair bit during the poke phase, right?
Yes.
So what I'm going to say here is yes, sometimes it's going to happen that you don't mind getting your Valk to do some of its work during the poke phase as long as the opponents can't back out of that poke phase. Like a poke phase can be a real fight because poke comps, for example, let me put an example here. If you had Hanzo, I don't know. If you had Hanzo over here and Hammond not slamming, but just shooting from over here, and then shooting down here, would this fight be real?
Yeah, because we're all like at the very least staged for something to happen, and we'd be doing meaningful damage.
Right. So like, if you Valk that, other than the fact that everyone's split out and you're like split up and you're like, I can't fork my Valk very well. Other than that, it would be, hey, this is a pretty good Valk because the opponents can't really get out of it. They're sort of stuck between us, and we're getting to have nice, meaningful poke during this phase, and they're just sort of going to melt. They're not going to be able to back out unless they give up huge amounts of cart distance, or if they back out, they're probably going to lose something like that, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want you to be like, oh, I can't Valk until the Rhines are swinging at each other, or until my ball has slammed, or until Roadhog has hooked someone. I don't want that to be the key. I want your Valk timing to be more based on, has your team done what it needs to establish that the fight is happening? And that could be the Rhines are very close to each other. That could be that your ball is set up. You could Valk on the dive. That's a very obvious thing. It's true. But especially in some of these poke dive hybrids and in some of these poke comps in general, you're going to be in situations where once your team has taken angles that are adequately threatening to the other team, that the other team is either going to surrender significant space, and even if they try, like if this team tries to back off now from your Hanzo, for example, they've got a bit of a hike ahead of them, right? Like they could go over here, but then there's the Zen. They could try to go here. That's going to be some work, and there's a decent chance that you get a pick off around that between your Zen, your Sigma, and your Hanzo. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
So I actually wouldn't mind. It's not the strongest Valk in the world, but if you Valk right now, even though you're not going to be able to chain damage between people very well, it's going to be a situation where it's like, hey, this is pretty real. Even if I can get just a 2-chain, which at this second you can't, where they're going to go, we don't particularly like this. We don't like getting hit hard. You Valked, we would like to back up, but as they back up, your Hanzo moves in, then you do get your chain. This I'm not claiming to be a tier 1 Valk, but I do like it, honestly, a little more than what's going to happen here, which is
A reactive Valk, yeah.
a reactive Valk, but also I'm reactive Valking to heal. This is healing him 5 health more per second, yay! And now my Valk is at the first time that it's doing something meaningful. I've spent a quarter of my Valk on heals, but I've spent a quarter of my Valk on heals that really, again, wasn't Valk worthy. Like, sure, now I could Valk if he was still alive for damage, and that would potentially have some value, but this just wasn't even an interesting Valk because other people weren't in yet, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Whereas this is quite nice. Hey, I can boost 3 people, or I can boost my Hanzo over here. I can do what I want. Sure. That was slow for you to reacquire Hanzo there. I know you're thinking about the res, but we can like see the gears turning. Slow.
Damage increased.
My spirit is strong. Observe the barrier.
That was dead time. I could have been microing better. I shouldn't be going to look to heal a tank instead of damage boost the DPS.
Yep, you could have microed that better, exactly.
Yeah.
Healing
Sure.
stream engaged.
Yep, that's fine. You probably don't actually leave cover for this.
Healing
Yeah, okay,
stream
fine.
engaged.
It looks like you tried to flip blue. Okay, I think you got it.
Let the dragon consume you.
That sad moment where we realize, oh, fine, I'll heal him. He's dragon striking and I can't boot. But anyway.
I've got you in my sights.
I thought he was going to push me there, to be honest.
Me too.
Let's see if you
I was about to comment on your crosshair placement, like, I don't know about this, but then he didn't push you.
Let me get you something more fun. I'm here. Power up.
Sure.
60 seconds.
You needed a doctor?
The dragon awakens. See,
Damage boost engaged.
I really hope they don't have a tracer or something over here.
Yep. Now that you mentioned it, I just can't not notice how bad I am at checking.
Okay. I mean, it's not,
Good
but yes, there we go. There we go.
You should be at peak performance levels.
Yep. Didn't do it
Yeah,
again.
that's what they're supposed to do. That's exactly what they're supposed to do. And you're not going to catch it every time, but even if you catch it 25% more often because you check, every 4 seconds, every 5 seconds, like, oh, that makes a difference.
You should be at peak performance levels.
It's also just like so easy to do on Mercy. Like all you
Oh,
have to
yeah.
do is just turn the camera. Like,
they give you this thing in the middle of your screen that is like, hey, you can see your ally's health bar, so you know while you're yeah.
30 seconds.
Experience tranquility.
It's right, the embarrassment is good. It's the only way I'll learn.
There we go. There we go.
Good as new.
The payload moves in accordance.
Ten seconds remaining.
Time is on our side.
Heroes never die.
Sure.
Could have min-maxed damage.
Yeah, I was a little surprised we didn't see that. Like, I get it, we're scared for his health. On the other hand, he has a huge adaptive shield right now, and we could have min-maxed that.
Time to read my leader.
I'm not sure you can talk me into being on ball anymore with these three in front of me.
Yeah, no.
Damage amplified. Let me get you patched up.
Sure. It's probably a bit too deep. So if you're going to go in here, so be it. But if you're going to go in here, you're basically instantly going to scoot out here. And if you're going to do that, you're effectively going to be canceled right here, as opposed to right here. There we go. Sure. Okay. Ah, we're back to Brig.
And back to the Brig.
Ready for battle.
All right, game face.
Still
on.
playing far back.
Yep, yep. I'm glad you see it. Makes my job easy. I don't have to point it out.
Damn, why haven't I learned from these things that
Right?
hadn't
What?
told me?
4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A. 60 seconds remaining.
That which lies within.
Fixing you up. You'll take it in. Shield's taking damage.
Would be appreciated.
Let us know. Ugh.
You hit that.
Jag fixar dig.
He immediately gets eliminated, so you don't have to be looking around. Okay, fine.
Seconds.
Hopeful, but I'll take it.
Oh, just a little bit longer, and we win this.
Probably not selling me on that pack.
Yeah, no.
Our barrier's about to go.
And now you're just sitting here taking damage for the heck of it? Like,
Oh, just a little bit longer, and we win this.
oh shoot, I don't like this, so I'm instantly stepping left, right? Like, am I getting any useful information by being here? Good, instantly
No.
step left. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Our barrier's about to go. I've got you.
Sure.
Seconds.
Hold them here, we win. Catching you up.
A lot going on.
There is. It's a tough one for you. I get it. You're overwhelmed and you're out of packs. In some ways, being out of packs simplifies it. So you're here. You can't bash yet, which is what you'd like to do. You effectively just renewed your Inspire there, and now you're going, what do I do? And you think that the thing to do is to send that ball away. I mean, sure, it's good if you hit him. I'm okay with that. And now it's just time to surround the high grounds.
Shields up.
Yeah.
I don't have bash. Why am I fighting this? Why am I fighting this? Yeah. So, like, this was the sort of thing where you saw back here, as soon as you missed this, when you missed this, you saw that all of your team dropped. You gotta drop with them. You go, nope, I have shield, I have inspire. That's enough for me to get out here, preferably without losing my life or my shield. And then I'm here with my team. Do I love it? No. But we've been forced back, and I certainly can't hold this. Again, different story if you have bash, but you don't.
Yeah.
My shield's up.
Okay. So things that I look at here that are going to help you the most, I'm not saying that it'll win you the match, but things that I'm going to look at here the most for, hey, will these help you? What can you get value? Most of this, the biggest thing is going to be we've got more work on our effectively camera management to do, and that would be, hey, we are going to position our brig more in this spot, and we're going to see with what we do by using our third person there. We're not going to position back here where, yeah, it's really easy to see our teammates, but unless we're specifically worried about a tracer coming up this way or something, and even if we were, we'd do it a little bit different, we're really better off being here where we have more active control over the cover. We have better active control over cover if we're closer to it, and if we're here, we go, third personing, whatever, there's a chance of our shield taking damage. We don't like that. We're actually going to protect our shield with the cover, give us the better sight line. That still lets us, it's a little harder work, but it still lets us see these guys behind us, even if we have to turn for them a little bit every once in a while, fine. And then that similar camera management, but a little different for our Mercy, is going to be, we got to check these flanks a little more. We got to check these flanks a little more. It doesn't have to be constantly, but there's more things to do. And there's more active camera management to do, both in terms of flank checking, as well as, well, this is really interesting. Or, yeah, what do the soul of Pharaoh's or Hanzo's feet look like? Yeah, no, let me just take a quick look. You can look at them sometime, sure, because that lets you see things like, are they reloading? Are they storm arrowing? If you missed the audio cue, maybe you want to get into timing their rockets. Cool, looking at them helps. But we should be mixing in some checks on, is there a Genji on my Zen? Does Tracer desperately need me to go over to there for her? That sort of thing. We want to mix more of that in. It is going to be more active camera control. Your Valks I'm actually okay with. I mean, we did talk, you may generally hold your Valks too long. There was potentially the option to use it here, but most of the times that I was really looking for you to use Valk and you didn't, it's because your Zen flinched first and sort of transcendenced, which is like, okay, that's not necessarily how I'd assign your ult usage. Right. That's not how I'd assign your ult usage, but it happened, so I'm not going to now tell you, oh, definitely Valk to get in on this, etc. So that's okay. And then when you're with your Brig, we also definitely want to fix for double bubble specifically how you handle Monkey. You're still in handle Monkey mode for when he's Winston Diva, and that's appropriate if you still run into Winston Diva, but that's not what we're going to do with Winston Zarya. Winston Zarya is a little different. You're going to walk in there. You can use your stun on him. You don't have to save it for Diva. And you can use your whip shot on him too, but you're generally going to do it after you're inside his bubble. You've held it still and you're like, goodbye. You have to make judgment calls of, is he just getting shredded during your stun? Did he just jump into a stupid situation? But most of the time it's going to be, okay, I stunned you after the Zarya bubble was over. You don't have time during the stun to move. And then let me just send you out and away, whatever. And now you guys won't be diving us anytime soon while our Zen continues to soften your team up, etc. You've bought your team another 6-8 seconds. Go about your merry day. So like those are sort of some of the main things. We talked about that. And then finally for our Brig, we'd get into a little bit more balancing between your health and your shield there. Some of that's going to be easier when you've preserved your shield a little better with cover. Some of that is going to be, hey, there's a little bit more room. We pointed out 1 or 2 examples where we do want to think, wait, we're actually sort of trying to use both of these resources. She's not super durable anymore. She's only got 250 shield HP and then 200 HP with some of it being armor. But if you balance between those and let those recover independently, just like with Sigma, like you have your barrier health and you have your shift and you have your shield, your like actual shield health, not barrier health, and you sort of try to balance those resources. It's not having any one of those that makes him durable or going one then the next that makes him durable. It's sort of how he uses those things in combination with cover, how he jumps between the resources. And you're really looking to do the same thing with Brig. I'm not going to say like, oh, you absolutely have to do this with Brig. It is the most important thing in the world. But like extending your life, getting a little more out of her by going between your 2 resources and going, okay, I'm going to take some shield damage. I'm going to take some health damage. Then I'm going to put my shield up to let some health recover. Then my shield's down while I swing while my shield recovers a little bit. Like that does help. She is still a brawly character. She's just brawly only in specific brawly matchups that she can handle. So like
Yeah.
you do want to get the most out of that. That'll make a difference when you start getting a little bit higher and really are looking for things to work on. In the meantime, you're going to get more out of positioning better, like we talked about, and then out of handling, understanding how you handle specific dives individually a bit better, as well as just having a mechanically a little better day with some missed bashes on Tracer, that sort of thing. But
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about that.
It happens.
I don't really feel a huge need to give you much more on Mercy there. Like, yes, there's more you can do with your camera. We didn't see a ton that was like, oh my god, this is the end of the world on Valkyrie. I could call it on one, but I don't really think that makes sense to do so. Yeah, I'm okay with that. So that's probably what I want to give you for today. Do you have any questions, comments, things you want to get into further there?
No, I think you've covered pretty much every note that I had.
Okay.
Yeah. One thing with the Mercy, like looking around, do you think it's better to use the prefer Guardian Angel beam target or whatever it's called, where it doesn't matter where you're looking when you Guardian Angel and you're pocketing someone?
So my preference is yes, but the reason that my preference is yes is because most of the time when I want to put a Mercy on the board, I also want a Pharah on the board or an Echo on the board, someone that I have to follow over rooftops, and it's useful for following them over rooftops, especially if you ever get your GA timing wrong. The reality is it can be done both ways, and what I find is ladder Mercies who go, nope, they're one-tricking Mercy, or they're going to play an extreme amount of Mercy, whatever it is, tend to prefer beam guardian target off. There's absolutely advantages to playing it either way. I would not strictly consider one way right or wrong. There really are legit advantages to playing it both ways. It really depends what you're doing it more. If you're pulling out your Mercy mostly in scrim settings when you have a flyer, I prefer guardian beam target on, but that is not gospel.
Okay. Because that's kind of similar thoughts that I've had, and I've been tossing up whether to invest the time to change it.
Sure.
Or what.
Sure.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay. Any other questions? That's a good one.
No, I think that's it.
Okay, then we'll go.
You've been very comprehensive.
Hey, I mean, we could go deeper. We could talk about, hey, you missed this Zen right click to boost. You missed this Storm Air. No, I'm kidding. You're good. We'll call it here.